good, YouTube? What is good, YouTube? Let me straighten the camera up, man. My bad, y'all. But welcome in to the show, Last Word Productions. Once again, we here with another Dolphin podcast. And as you all know, I always get the last word. So let's jump right into it. We got a bit of Dolphin news. Some some good, some not so good for certain players. But let me go ahead and jump right into it though. So the good news, right? Well, before we get into that, if you here right now paying attention to the channel, you like, subscribe, please be sure to, if you're not subscribing already, excuse me, please be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and please be sure to follow me on all my socials, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. I'm everywhere, man. Just go ahead, wherever you at, whatever social media platform you have. Last for Productions. 9 out of 10 times I'm there. Now, for the good news, excuse me. Edge rusher Jalen Phillips has officially been placed off of the PUP list. So he's been practicing. He's not only has he been practicing, but I seen some videos of him and he's looking pretty damn decent. He's cutting well, he's looking good. He looks like he's in football shape somewhat. Of course, the condition is a whole nother story. I don't know and don't believe he will be ready week one. I'm not under that belief. But it is good to see that he's practicing. So that's something I like to see. And that's something that I think is a positive sign for the team as a whole. Because now you have one of your starters back. So you could put Chop on the opposite side of him, or you could put Mo Kamara and Chop starting, and you get him in some rotational downs to ease his way back in. You feel me? But at the end of the day, it's good to see that he's off the PUP list earlier than I expected. I thought he was going to be on there for at least the first maybe 2 weeks of the season. So to see he's not on the PUP is good. And another player that's off the PUP, excuse me, is Odell Beckham. Even though he still is on a week-to-week basis, it's good to see that he's off the PUP. So there's potential that both these guys could be ready week one. I'm not betting that both of them be ready week one, but there's a chance that they both can be ready week one. So, in my opinion, that's a good thing because you're getting arguably your best edge rusher back, and you're getting your third receiver back. Who there was a lot of hype around Odell coming into this team. Excuse me. Oh my guys, it's a little thirsty, but it was a lot of hype coming into this season with Odell Beckham coming in as your third receiver. And this team felt like they needed to replace the third receivers, and they added Odell. People believe he's one of the best threes in the league. Now you got your three back, and hopefully he'll be starting for you soon. But with all that being said, some bad news we have in Miami Dolphin world. Well, not necessarily for the Dolphins, but for a particular player. Excuse me, is Tahir Tart. And Tahir Tart actually was cut by the team. Tahir Tart was a veteran that was brought in to essentially help replace Christian Wilkins, excuse me. And that didn't exactly go as planned because from what we've seen and from what we have heard, he necessarily wasn't the most productive. He wasn't in great shape coming into camp. And as well as he didn't look like the veteran presence that they wanted to bring in. So his time here was short-lived. They also brought in another guy to replace him, essentially. His name is Robert Cooper. He played, I'm not sure where he played. I believe he played in the XFL, if I'm not mistaken. But he's 6'2", 335, and he got a nickname called him Big Coop. So this is a bigger guy. What you need in your middle, you need some guys who can claw in the middle, eat up space, make it difficult to run inside you. Because Zach Sealer, even though he is a big guy himself, he's more suitable for pass rushing. That's his style. That's his play. Calais Campbell is almost 40 years old, so you can't expect him to play every snap like Christian Wilkins did. So you need depth at the position, and this is a this is a guy that's going to provide some of that depth if it works out. And he actually played for the Seahawks, excuse me. So playing for the Seahawks, coming into the Dolphins and see if he can help contribute to a defense that absolutely desperately needs depth at the defensive tackle position. Because again, with the loss of Christian Wilkins, you essentially need a group of guys to replace him, not one guy, because he's a guy that didn't miss time, didn't take plays off, was pretty good at everything at his position, could rush well, could play the zone well, fill gaps, take on blockers. You're not finding too many linemen that can do what Christian Wilkins can do. So you got to replace him with a room of guys, not just one guy. And with that being said, let's get off into some more Dolphin news and some things I thought was interesting. So, as we all know, the Dolphins will be taking on the Commanders. I almost said Redskins, but they will be taking on the Commanders this Saturday, 7 o'clock. They've had joint practices. From what I've heard from around the league and from around different stories and things of that nature surrounding these teams, is that for one, the Dolphins offense looked good against the Commanders defense, and as well as the fact, excuse me, I was reading something in regards to it, but as well as the fact that Kendall Fuller is actually practicing and he's been playing well, and that's good to see that he's back and playing well. He had a good practice against the Commanders, from what I've heard, and I'm glad to see that he is healthy. He was battling some injuries to start off this season and this training camp. Hopefully there aren't anything that would be lingering issues. I'm not exactly sure what the injuries were. All I know is that he was a guy that was pretty much sidelined since the beginning of the camp, and now he's playing. So I'm glad to see he's back out there. Glad to see he got an orange jersey. I mean, he had the best practice yesterday. So more power to the brother. But something else that caught my attention about this game, I want to see. I'm gonna just get into 5 quick things I want to see from the team as a whole before I go. This is gonna be a short pod today, guys. You know, been kind of a long week, but 5 things I want to see from the team as a whole. Number one, I want to see the offensive line improve. This is a team in the Commanders that's lost some guys. They've lost Montez Sweat. They've lost Chase Young. They've lost it's another brother who name eludes me right now, but they lost multiple pieces on their front four. This isn't a good front four. I want to see the offensive line actually have a good game this coming Saturday. There should be no reason why this offensive line gets dominated or pushed around. I want to see them be able to pass block well, pro block well. I want to see them be able to open up running lanes. I want to see them be able to just consistently winning their matchups. There's no reason why one guy on that defensive line, maybe outside of one D tackle they have, and it's gonna kill me if I don't remember his name, because I already forgot one of the names. Excuse me, Jonathan Allen. If Jonathan Allen beats you, Mopati, he's one of the better ones in the league. But outside of him, there isn't really anyone else. I mean, Darian Payne is cool too, but he isn't a guy that you're game planning for. Jonathan Allen is the game planner. Outside of those guys and really Jonathan Allen, it's a whole lot of guys. You know, there is no Ryan Kerrigan, there is no Chase Young, there is no Montez Sweat. This should be a game where the offensive line actually looks as you should start to see some kind of improvement, in my opinion. Second thing I want to see better quarterback play. The first game, me and Larry talked about it, is on the previous pod. The quarterback play was atrocious. Skylar Thompson was terrible. Mike White was terrible. Everyone was terrible. I mean, we need better quarterback play. It needs to be better. I'm not talking about from two. I'm talking about from the backup. I'm talking about from the guys who are supposed to be competing for a number 2 spot. Act like it. Someone separating themselves. It was terrible the last time these guys was out there. So it has to look better. And it's really not any much more I can say than that because they can't get any worse. I hope they don't get any worse than what they did last week. So get better at the quarterback position and actually go out there and act like you're trying to compete for a job. Third thing I want to see. I want to see the defense actually create some turnovers. And that's something that I think needs to be harping on a little bit more. I think there's playmakers on this defensive side. Even at the depth piece, I think Nick Needham is a veteran that can make plays. I think Cam Smith needs to start to assert himself and try to make some plays that could be differences in the game, whether it's a big tackle, whether it's a big pass defense, whether it's a pick, something. I want to see the defense and some of these younger guys actually start to make plays and create some kind of game-changing plays, turnovers, or whatever the case may be. I want to see that, especially from the younger guys who we expected more from at this point. I expected more from Channing Tindall at this point. I expected more from Cam Smith at this point. I expected more from guys like Kato Kohu at this point. I think there has to come a point where we start to actually want to see the fruit be bared on the tree. You get what I'm saying? So it's like at some point it has to bear fruit. The fourth thing I want to see them just go out and have a good game on all 3 levels. Special teams, offense, defense. I think as a whole, this team is just simply better than the Commanders. So you should go out there and look good on all 3 levels. I'm not saying you have to be perfect. I'm not saying you have to be, playing lights out, but I want you to look good. There should not be major red flags like it was in the first preseason game, because now you have a game under your belt. You have some coaching. You have some development. You watch film. You see your mistakes. Let's start to actually grow week by week. At least that's what I want to see. And the last thing I want to see, simply put, I just want to see these guys compete and actually look cohesive as a unit. Like, I know that goes along with the fourth thing, but to me, looking good and actually playing good are 2 different things. You could go out there and look good because your opponent is worse than you, which I just said the Commanders are. But looking like a cohesive unit means you will look good and play well against anyone you play. And that's what I'm looking to see when I say that. I'm looking to see will they look good and do I believe they could do this against any team in the league? So those are the things I'm looking for. I'm not exactly sure what you guys are looking for in this preseason game from the Dolphins, but those are some things I want to see. But again, it's not going to be a long episode. We might cut it short here. I appreciate you guys' times for whoever came out to the show. Again, this was a little shorter episode, but if you're not tuned in to the show, be sure to subscribe, like the channel, like the videos, subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I'm everywhere, man. Like I said, just look at Last Word Productions. I promise y'all, 9 out of 10 times, I'm there. All right, guys. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace. Hopefully, I won't beat by myself this time.